Tonight, the international fight to tackle organised crime. How cracked encrypted messages have led to more than 70 people being convicted. One of Scotland's most senior officers says criminals now have nowhere to hide.
The fact is that some of this crime is being orchestrated by those overseas, but it's causing that harm here in the communities of Scotland.
Also tonight, after hospital lab staff in Aberdeen were exposed to a biological agent which can cause severe disease, NHS Grampian are handed a notice to improve health and safety measures. And the Tartan Army return. They've been the toast of the tournament, but after a disappointing campaign, the Scotland fans fly back as our chances of reaching the knockout stage hang by a thread.
You know, you turn up at a party and you leave early, so it's a bit gutting.
I'm Andrea Breimer with the STV News at 6, live from Aberdeen. Good evening. One of Scotland's most senior police officers has told STV News the force will exploit every opportunity to tackle organised crime gangs. Assistant Chief Constable Stuart Houston was speaking after the convictions of 76 people as a result of data obtained from the encrypted messaging network EncroChat. In an interview with Gordon Cree, he outlined how tackling gangsters is an absolute priority.
The international reach of organised crime. This video released by the Policia Nacional this week shows Stephen Lyons, one of Scotland's gangland kingpins, arriving in Spain. He'd been extradited there from Bali via the Netherlands and is facing accusations of being involved in money laundering, drug trafficking and murder. At Police Scotland headquarters, I met the officer who's in charge of tackling organised crime. He told me global cooperation is a big part of it.
Criminality doesn't recognise borders, and that's why it's really important for us at Police Scotland about how we engage with partners, not just within the UK, but beyond, through Europol, Interpol, and into some of the law enforcement partners across the globe that we're able to interact with on pretty much a daily basis through the sharing of intelligence, but also where there is joint investigations to be carried out, we're able to conduct those with what are really, really sophisticated criminal networks.
Over the last couple of years, we've seen a series of shootings and firebombings across the Central Belt, much of that linked to the decades-long feud between the Lyons and Daniel families.
Tackling organised crime is a real important issue for us, and the fact is it's to make our communities safer. And the fact is that some of this crime is being orchestrated by those overseas, but it's causing that harm here in the communities of Scotland. And it's up to us to ensure that we are engaging with the right law enforcement partners for us to be able to take action out with Scotland, but also where appropriate to seek extradition and return people to face justice in Scotland.
One of the successes of working with other agencies came as a result of the encrypted messaging service EncroChat being cracked. A huge amount of data from that has been gone through over the years. There have now been 76 people convicted in Scotland, with jail sentences totalling almost 350 years. Those include David Stephen and Sean Brown. They presented as legitimate businessmen, sponsoring Motherwell FC through their home improvements company. In reality, they were flaunting a lifestyle funded by a massive cocaine trafficking operation. The scale of it was detailed in 12,000 messages on EncroChat.
So EncroChat was the platform that was used to send encrypted communications that could be between networks, and particularly was used by organised crime groups across the globe. But we saw that playing out in Scotland with a number of individuals who had handsets here in Scotland that were able to communicate what they thought was safely with each other in pursuance of their criminal acts.
Are you winning the fight against organised crime?
I think the part for us is about ensuring that we are able to try and entrust the safety of the communities of Scotland, and that means tackling those high harm offenders who will cause that most harm. Now, whether that's through violence or whether that's through drugs. That's something that we are keen to try and exploit at every opportunity, the intelligence that we can glean from sharing appropriately with partners across the globe to try and make that effort to tackle serious and organised crime wherever it may be happening.
That's, you know, the Mr. Biggs. It's a long way from the average person. How much of a role does intelligence from the general public play in taking down these people?
Intelligence from the communities of Scotland is essential for us, and the fact is that it builds a picture, and the fact is that something that may take place in the community of Scotland may have far-reaching impacts in another part of the world, and it's about us being able to have that information, to analyse it, to be able to work towards how we can use that in evidential cases in the future, but also to ensure that we are providing the best possible protection to the people and the communities of Scotland.
Gordon Cree, STV News, Tullyallen.
NHS Grampian failed to ensure the health and safety of some of its workers after staff at a lab came into contact with hazardous biological agents, which can cause severe disease. The Health Board has been issued with an improvement notice after the incident earlier this year. Well, Stephen is outside Aberdeen Royal Infirmary for us tonight. And Stephen, clearly a very concerning incident for everyone involved in this.
Yeah, absolutely. What this incident relates to is that lab staff here at NHS Grampian were given insufficient information on a patient sample that they were testing. That meant that they didn't take the full precautions to protect their own safety that they might have done if that information had been there. Now that, according to NHS Grampian, led to the exposure of this biological agent, hazard category 3, that can cause severe harm, severe disease. Now, we don't know exactly what the staff were exposed to, but category 3 hazards can include bacteria, viruses, the likes of HIV, hepatitis, and the bacteria that can cause TB. Now, the Health and Safety Executive has issued the Health Board with an improvement notice. NHS Grampian say they're complying with that. They've put in place an action plan, particularly around strengthening the labelling on patient samples. They have apologised to the staff that were involved. They say there is no wider risk posed to the wider public or to patients. They have until the end of January to comply with that improvement notice.
Many thanks, Stephen. Nicholas Rossi, the American rapist who faked his own death and fled to Scotland in an attempt to escape justice, has died. He was serving a sentence in Utah for crimes that included sexual assault. The 38-year-old arrived in Scotland in 2021 but was arrested in a Glasgow hospital. He'd been suffering from a chronic health condition. An Aberdeen man murdered his partner in a hammer attack while banned from going near her. The High Court in Glasgow heard 40-year-old Joseph Greer was wearing an electronic tag when he brutally attacked Samantha Lee in Aberdeen in January. The couple had been in a relationship since 2021. Greer now faces a life sentence after admitting her murder. A man from Dundee has been named as one of a group of men accused of raping an unconscious woman after she was allegedly drugged by her husband. Keith Fotheringham has been unmasked after reporting restrictions on identifying the 13 men from across the UK were lifted today, ahead of a trial in Manchester later this year. The 59-year-old has admitted several charges in relation to the case and will be sentenced later. The public inquiry into disgraced surgeon Sam Eljamel could be hit by further delay if the Scottish Government doesn't meet an ultimatum over building safety issues at the hearings venue. The inquiry's chair, Lord Weir, has set a deadline of next Wednesday for assurances that it will be safe to proceed with evidence sessions scheduled to start in September. Now, Scotland's supporters have been making their way home from America as the national team's hopes of reaching the World Cup knockout stages hang by a thread. Fans arriving at Edinburgh Airport this morning say the real winners of the tournament, well, of course, it's the Tartan Army. Here's Amy Flett. Oh, well, our apologies there. We hope to go back to that story soon. An Aberdeen man who spent a week in a coma after getting sepsis has hailed a local mental health group for their support during his recovery. Bruce Johnson was admitted to hospital in 2023 with organ failure. During Men's Mental Health Month, he, along with others in the group, are encouraging more men to seek help. Gráinne Grahan has more.
The anniversary of his battle with sepsis was a tipping point for Bruce, and getting the right support was paramount. In 2023, he spent 26 days in hospital, a week in a coma, as well as 7 operations in 18 days.
I do feel really lucky to be alive, but at the same time, I've got a lot of survivor's guilt, which is one of the reasons I can still come to my mind every week. I feel guilty about being alive because there's so many people don't survive sepsis.
During his recovery, he joined Men in Mind, and while he learned to walk again, the group helped him heal his hidden wounds too.
It's definitely changed my life. If it hadn't been for here, I don't know where I would have got the support from.
The organisation has helped hundreds of men with groups all across Aberdeen. Paul joined during the lowest point in his life.
I just couldn't go on the way I had been feeling. I'd been feeling a lot of physical symptoms, like sensitivity to light and sensitivity to noise. I was struggling to string a sentence together. I've made 30 new friends, and as a 45-year-old man, it's quite difficult to make new friends and establish new friends. Give them a lot of confidence and built up my self-esteem.
For John, the loss of his wife Angela brought him to the group.
It takes away from, in my case, the pain of loss. It's a big void. She was everything to me. But being able to talk about it in an open space and not get to get judged. And that is the thing that I have found, that it's a community.
Everybody talks about the stigma that men won't talk about their feelings. But I guess what we've proven over the last few years, that if the right place, the right people, they will.
At the heart of this group is friendship. And while these men came as strangers, they've quickly formed a brotherhood whose doors are always open for any others needing help. Gráinne Grahan, STV News.
A Highland teenager with an agonising skin condition says she's been left in limbo by NHS Highland as they can't tell her who'll take over her care when she turns 18 next week. Isla Grist needs her bandages changed multiple times a week, but her milestone birthday means she transitions to adult care. Nicola McCally has more.
We've got more bandages up here, more sticky tapes, protective bandages. We've got
3 times a week, Isla Grist needs to have her bandages changed by a medical team. It's a process that takes almost 5 hours each time. She suffers from epidermolysis bullosa, a condition which means 70% of her fragile skin is raw.
Some days, yes, I just think, right, I can't take this pain anymore. But there's no way out. I can't go backwards. I have to keep going forward. And if I need my bandage changes, I have to endure that pain 3 times a week.
Next week, Isla will turn 18, but this means her care transitions from paediatric to adult, and at the moment, no team has been put in place to take over her bandage care. If they can't be regularly changed, she's at high risk of infection and sepsis. Her mum Rachel says she's had to constantly ask NHS Highland what will happen, and now she's put in a complaint to the chief executive.
You know, we should be looking forward to Isla turning 18. Shouldn't have to feel like some barrier to the next step, because we don't know what that next step is. And it's just not fair. No. Nobody this vulnerable should be abandoned, which is how we feel.
Isla's condition has seen her strike up a friendship with Scottish footballing legend Graham Souness, who's undertaken numerous fundraising challenges, raising awareness for Deborah, the charity which supports those suffering from EB.
We're not asking for somebody with experience of EB to walk straight into Isla's home. There is support there to put that training in place, and Isla herself would be fantastic at training somebody. So I really do not understand what the issues are.
NHS Highland says transition from children to adult services is something it takes very seriously, particularly for young people with complex or lifelong conditions. It says it works closely with colleagues across health and social care to plan transitions in advance. Nicola McCally, STV News.
A new fund to compensate for the proliferation of green energy projects in the Highlands is flawed, according to industry watchers. Objectors say it's too little, too late. The SNP-led council claims the fund promises a lasting legacy. However, critics say there is a glaring error in it. Now, it's the biggest cultural gathering in the North East this year. Aberdeen is welcoming thousands of visitors and musicians for the International North Atlantic Fiddle Convention, 25 years after it first began. The Mother Kirk is just one venue for the 5-day celebrations. From there, Anne Smith reports.
Aberdeen's buzzing thanks to this special celebration of musical traditions from across the North Atlantic. These talented Galician musicians are among more than 100 artists playing here as part of one of the world's leading fiddle and dance festivals.
Fiddle just connects lots of cultures, like all the Celtic nations, and also in the States, in Mexico, all over the world. So it's a big connection. It means for us, means party, means friends.
But this is an instrument that is shared so beautifully and generously across the planet, and to focus in and get different perspectives from around the Atlantic in particular, how people use it to express their joy and their dance energy and their lives is amazing. So it's a privilege to follow the fiddle.
The North Atlantic Fiddle Convention was first held in Aberdeen 25 years ago. Since then, it's grown into a huge international gathering, attracting thousands of visitors and leading musicians, dancers and academics. This year, it's returned home to where it all began, to mark its special anniversary.
So as a fiddle player myself, you just have to hear it and it makes you go, ah! How wonderful. But it's just the joy of music, just bringing everybody together.
We've got over 110 artists coming from all across the North Atlantic. So we've got Sweden, Spain, Canada, USA and more coming to Aberdeen.
Musicians will be performing at concerts and holding workshops and pop-up sessions across the city over the weekend. They say the 5-day celebration of music, culture and connection is an event you won't want to miss.
Yeah, pretty special to be back here at this amazing festival. Great energy, as Alistair said, lots of friends from all around the fiddling world. It's going to be a mighty party.
Anne Smith, STV News.
Well, we can go back to that Scotland fans package now, and of course we all know that the real winners of the World Cup have been the Tartan Army, and they're now marching home. Again, here's Amy Flett.
Arriving home in different spirits than when they left. Still in their kilts and football shirts, the Tartan Army touched down in Edinburgh airports after 2 weeks of hope.
It's like, you turn up at a party and you leave early, so it's a bit gutting.
We had our return ticket coming back, but still had the hope that we might be going back out, but don't think that'll be happening now.
Definitely not. We're going to go back out again. We've got tickets here for them, but obviously we'll get our money back for it.
It currently sits in 8th place, but for the fans, the dream of making history for the first time and reaching the last 32 of the tournament is over.
When we took off, we had a 42% chance of qualifying, and then we've landed and we've got a 5% chance. So I think that sums it up.
How do you think our chances are looking at the moment?
They're done. We're completely done.
Not good. We're sort of going to have to accept that now. Especially the games last night, it's not happening.
Yeah, not many high hopes, I don't think.
But while the football may have led to disappointment after weeks of sharing our Scottish culture across the pond, many have deemed the real winners of the World Cup to be the Tartan Army.
There's been a lot of negativity about what happened on the pitch, but the partying and everything in Boston was just amazing.
In all honesty, we don't deserve to go through. We haven't been good enough. Yeah. But hey.
But the fans have. The fans have definitely.
The fans have done it, yeah. Well, the Scotland's chances of reaching the knockout stages hang by a thread. It's likely any remaining Scots in America will be in the process of booking flights home. It won't be too long until we find out for sure whether they've made it through, but while it may not be the results fans were hoping for, one thing's for certain, they've made their mark in America. Amy Flett, STV News, Edinburgh Airport.
Well, the fans might be coming home, but Rahman is still in the States. He's back in Charlotte with the Scotland team.
STV Sport, sponsored by the C.R. Smith Spring Sale.
Good evening from Charlotte, North Carolina. The Scotland squad have returned to their base here as they continue to wait to learn their World Cup fate, but it's looking increasingly likely that they will be heading home. Well, Lewis Ferguson, the midfielder who is impressed at the tournament, says it's important that players try and stay positive.
To have any chance of progressing in the World Cup, Scotland need a number.
You know, we've just come off the back of a 3-0 defeat in a game that, you know, we wanted to go and get something from. My initial feeling is you're probably out of it. But, you know, stranger base camp, and it's going to be nervy watching some games and hoping for some results, and that's experienced lads to get around everybody. And I think we've got those kind of guys within the squad that can do that and can lift the spirits. It's going to be difficult, like I said. It's going to take a couple of days, but we've got a couple of days now, and you know we'll need to try and build that positivity back up.
On the pitch, there have been few positives. It's now almost certain Scotland.
Well, while Scotland have qualified for the last 3 major tournaments, their performances in them have been poor at Euro 2020. They played 3 games, won none, lost 2 and drew 1, scoring just 1 goal and had a -4 goal difference. At the Euros in Germany 2 years ago, it was a similar story. Won none, lost 2 and drew 1. This time their goal difference was -5. And at this World Cup, 2 losses and 1 win with a goal difference of -3. OK, let's give you some football news away from the World Cup. And Celtic have confirmed the appointments of Sean Maloney, Mark Fotheringham and Stephen McManus as part of Martin O'Neill's coaching team. There were doubts if a deal would be struck with O'Neill's backroom team, but an agreement has been reached on the day the players returned for pre-season training. On to athletics news now, and Laura Muir says she's looking towards the future as she prepares to compete in the less familiar 5,000 metres at next month's Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. It comes as Team Scotland named a 39-strong athletics squad for the Games. Muir won gold at 1,500 metres as well as bronze in the 800 metres at Birmingham 2022.
We're just kind of looking towards the future. You know, this year we don't have a global championships, but there's a world championships next year, next Olympics in 28. So we want to try and make me as strong as possible. So it's a little bit of an experiment year, you know, trying a few different things in training. Yeah, racing the 5K, so it's a lot longer than what I'm used to. And it's a hard event, you know, the competition's going to be really tough. But yeah, I want to push myself, and I think to get better at the 1,500, I need to adapt, I need to try new things.
Your window to sport. C.R. Smith sponsors STV Sport.
And we'll end with some tennis news. The draw for the opening round of Wimbledon has been made. Cameron Norrie has been drawn against American qualifier Michael Zheng in the first round, while Jacob Finley will face Ali Mickelson, who's also from America. That, folks, is all of your sport for me, live from Charlotte.
Well, back to here, and Philip is standing by. It's been so muggy the past few nights. Is it set to get any cooler?
Well, Andrea, I'm exactly the same. We've had some pretty uncomfortable night sleeps the past few evenings with temperatures in a lot of areas not getting below the double digits. And last night, our highest overnight temperature was 19.2 degrees Celsius, just shy of our warmest June night recorded in 2006. But last night and today, we've been under a thunderstorm warning, and the Met Office revealed that Scotland saw roughly 40,000 lightning strikes in the space of 24 hours. The good news is it's helping to break down our weather this weekend, and we will see some lower temperatures. Let's take a look.
Midday Mayan temples, followed by sunny afternoons on the sand. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
So as we start to head into the weekend, the risk of the thunderstorms does start to diminish, and we'll start to see a change in our weather throughout Saturday and into Sunday. Overnight Saturday into Sunday, low pressure moves in, and that low pressure will introduce the cooler and the slightly fresher air mass, and that means that our temperatures will be dropping to more on average for the time of year. Now, back to just now as we head into the overnight period, that frontal system continues to move north and northwestwards, bringing with it the worst of the heavy and thundery showers. Away from that, turning us slightly drier through the second half of the night, but it will still be a slightly muggy night to come. Temperatures dropping to lows of around 10 or 11 degrees Celsius. Then looking ahead to tomorrow, the worst of the thundery showers will clear away to the north and the northwest. We'll see some drier and brighter spells developing, particularly across eastern areas. 1 or 2 scattered showers moving in from the south, and then later on in the afternoon, this next system starting to creep in from the west, bringing with it thicker cloud and heavier downpours once again. Temperature-wise tomorrow, reaching highs of around 23 or 24 degrees Celsius. Then looking ahead to Sunday, the low pressure is just to the northwest of us, so we will see 1 or 2 showers around western coastal parts. A bit of a stronger breeze here. Further east once again is where we'll see the best of the brighter spells, but those temperatures continuing to drop a degree or 2, highs of 21. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
And that's where we'll have to leave it for tonight. From me here in the studio and Raman and the team in America, a very good night. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.